Second.
Waiting. Okay. Call to order. Item number 1. Next item number 2, acceptance of the minutes from January 4th meeting.
Anything exciting that needed to be changed?
Straightforward. Anybody have any comments, questions? You all set?
No.
Oh, good.
All good? Okay.
So make the motion, we,
Please, Andrew.
make a motion that we accept the minutes from January 4th,
Second.
I second.
You got me.
and we'll call a roll since Lori's remote. So Lori,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Yes.
Paul,
Yes. I'm sorry, I jumped.
Steve,
Yes.
Dr. Boucher.
Yes.
And yes, for myself.
Right. As to item number 3, we have proposals for construction manager to talk about. Andrew's on, did you say?
Yeah, I let him in.
Okay.
Yep, he's
all
on
right,
there.
All right. Okay. We have 2 proposals to review.
Extras.
Okay. We have 2 proposals to review, one from PM Construction, they're out of Saco. And the second is from Nickerson O'Day, and they're out of Bangor. Has everybody had a chance to review them, look them over? Okay. Andrew and John, you guys had a chance to look over them as well?
Yes,
Okay.
and Paul, myself, and John have discussed this prior to the meeting, so I think we're all on the same page.
Okay. All right, would you like to share your thoughts? I mean, many of us aren't familiar with either company. I'm familiar with both, but I'd like to hear what your,
Yeah, so first off, I'll just introduce myself because I don't know if I've met all of you. So I'm Andrew Truergy, envoy of Paul Design's project today, as Paul could not make it. Yeah, to start out, so we looked at both proposals. I have not personally heard of Nickerson and O'Day PM Construction a little bit. They did the Vickery building, which is something I very briefly worked on when I was at another firm. The proposals themselves come in relatively close. I think the big factor is the pre-construction fee. PM Construction is at $15,000, which we had budgeted $5,000, so that's 3 times our price on the pre-construction. And Nickerson had a $3,500 for that allocated. One thing that did jump out to us is that PM Construction, when they broke down their fee, they had options. And in the proposal, we did not see a breakdown of what those options entailed and what would be cut within those options. So we would like something like that. So I think our stance is to interview both and get a greater detail of what PM is considering in those options. So even though Nickerson is the more affordable option, and that will obviously play a part into our selection, we think it's viable to give both of them an opportunity to present their bid for us.
okay.
And John, I don't know if you had anything to add.
No, I don't. I guess the only question is, would you and Paul and somebody from Monmouth be on the interview team?
I think Paul's planning on being there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know that I need to be there. I mean, I have not worked with PM. I have worked with Nickerson and O'Day. I'm old and I go way back. So they're probably like all different people now. So I think we should interview them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think generally too, with all of the projects they had, and their experience was very relative to what we're doing here. So it all looks good. I think it comes down to what we feel is best, as you guys had selected us and John as a team, primarily based off of our connection with you guys as a client. I think that's also going to play an important role in how we connect with the CM team. So, Nickerson might be more affordable, but if something just doesn't go the right way in an interview, then I think it's certainly viable to go with PM as well.
Okay, I do have a question. With doing that, then would we have some assistance in coming up with the questions, the interview questions that we could consider? And
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure Paul and John have more experience in this than myself, being somewhat amateurish into the field. But I have had experience working with CM firms, Zaka, which is one of the biggest in Maine. And so I'm getting an idea in how they work and sort of what things kind of come up in contingencies and stuff like that. So we can certainly create, and you guys obviously will have your own questions to ask. I think we can make quite a substantial list, get a good feeling of it.
Well, between you, Andrew, and Paul and me, we can come up with a menu of questions and share them prior to the interview.
that would be
Yeah.
awesome. Very much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I looked at them. I think Nickerson and Day's experience is more in line with what we're looking for. I think John said, or maybe Andrew said. I also have the concern what Andrew expressed is on PM construction. That, yeah, they listed these conditions or the options, but we don't know what the options are. If you're going to put options in for an RFP, somewhere you should enumerate what they are. Without us having to go back to
That was my thought.
Yeah.
to that. But overall, I thought Nickerson and Day, at least experience-wise, was a better fit as to what we're doing. And that's putting aside the fact that their fee structure is a little bit lower.
I agree. Paul and I both had the feeling that Nickerson's proposal was a little more fleshed out or had a little more, it was 40 pages compared to the PM's was 21, which,
Right.
Not necessarily quantity, it means everything, but it shows that they have a lot of experience and they put some effort into it. Not to say that PM didn't, but there was something to be said about that.
Yeah. It's like that, obviously, because I've done many of this type of work, so they knew what we would be looking for to be able to identify.
It's not only that they've done this type of work, they've done this type of work on older buildings.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
they've run restoration, and you look at a lot of the projects of the buildings they've restored are
Yeah.
late 19th century buildings.
Exactly, and a lot of brick and.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
The same, what we're
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
here.
And in the interior measures, tin ceilings, floors, and woodwork, things like that, yeah.
Andrew, a question I had was the fee percentages on Nickerson O'Day is like 4.95.
Yeah,
Is that
4.98. I
Is
think.
that comparable to the overhead and profit fee percentage that's on PMs? I was a little confused on what compared to what here.
Yeah, and that was something that was a little bit confusing. I think with just PM Construction's fee breakdown was not as detailed as Nickerson. So it's hard to say if their options were inclusive of their fee, like added with a 10% added on. So they have their overhead as 10%, whereas Nickerson has overhead at 5%, and that's broken down in Nickerson's. So I think that the PM Construction, we would definitely want to get a more detailed list of how that breaks out, and if that 10% is on top of the 117,000 for option one, which would be the more affordable option. So that would be definitely a good question.
So how do we proceed from here? You guys want to?
Well, I think given.
Questions?
Yeah, I think we definitely interview both, especially given that we just have two. You know, if there was a very obvious option to go for one out of a bucket of options or selections, then potentially. But given that we've got two, and we can spend one of these nights interviewing both of them, getting a good feel for either firm, we'll present a list of questions, and I'm sure you'll have many to add on. Paul, John, and I can certainly, will most likely be at that meeting, definitely, the interview process. Yeah, so I think that would be next steps for us. And then we should probably formulate a response for both of these teams that are interested here.
So do you want to reach out to them, or have Justin, the town manager, reach out to them to schedule the interviews, or who takes the lead on that?
My inclination would be to have Justin do it.
Okay.
The owner would have that relationship with the
Okay.
CM. Yeah.
That, and it does bring up a point that the CM process is largely about chemistry. So I do think it's a good idea to interview both and get a sense for who you're comfortable working with. My quick answer would be just to hire Nickerson and O'Day, but there may be reason to reconsider that, you know, if there are different findings or chemistry or whatnot with PM, you know, give them that opportunity to present themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said before, it does seem like Nickerson aligns more properly with what we're looking for here, just with affordability and the amount of
right. I mean, if you had to make a quick decision, I would just say go with Nickerson and O'Day. But if there's time here to interview folks, might as well.
Okay, well, that begs the question, is there time? Are we getting too, sorry, go ahead.
No, that I was just gonna say the same thing. Do we have the time to get another interview in?
Well, do we need to have them on board prior to the demolition team?
Right, that's a good question.
Starting? So, you know, what's the timeline for the demo, and do we need this here before the
I'll
demo?
let Andrew talk on that front, but I'll just interject because I do think that the CM provides valuable oversight on the demo.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
So at least having them in tandem with the demo would be a good thing.
Yeah.
right.
We do have quite a few weeks of abatement too. You
Yeah.
know, it would be good to have them online, but if we started the abatement before we actually started the physical demo, that's a possibility. I was just thinking if we do run short on time, trying to schedule the interviews.
Yeah.
That's a possible option.
Right.
Just throwing that out for consideration.
So would we want to consider doing interviews like next week? Would we have time?
Well,
I think it'd be great if we could.
if we could,
If we
I mean, and the issue is, let me just look at, because if we have to get together as a group.
Right.
What's available
On short notice.
on short notice. So
Right.
next week, the only thing scheduled up here is on Wednesday with the planning, I mean, with the select board.
Okay.
And then it doesn't, I don't
So
see it.
Andrew,
after
I
that.
don't know that I need to be involved. I'm happy, you know, if you or Paul are not available, I'm happy to, or in conjunction with you, I'm happy to attend. I think my only meeting next week is a Wednesday night meeting. So I'm available any other night.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess the hard part is today being Thursday, you'd have to reach out to Justin tomorrow.
Right.
And say,
And-
and it might not be next week, you know,
Right,
it might have to be
exactly.
the week after
Okay,
following.
Right.
so what
So-
we're dealing with is, do we make a decision now? That's a possibility.
Mhm.
Or do we say do we decide as a group it's worth interviewing both? that's, I guess that's the premier decision.
I think the interviews are worthwhile
Okay.
situation, in my opinion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we can't get in touch with Justin to do this, maybe what's the following week?
Well, I
looking
mean,
like?
if you email him today, I'm sure, I know he reads his emails and
Okay,
things,
okay, yeah.
because he doesn't just turn off his phone when he's not in the town office on Friday. He's pretty aware of what's happening, like Linda always was. So I
Yeah.
think if we, reach out to him, if you reach out to him and tell him we want to schedule interviews
Mhm.
as soon as we can, next week or the week after, knowing that Wednesday night is out.
Right, okay.
And then,
Mhm.
going from there, so.
Well, that's
To
something.
refresh my memory, when is the demo contractor scheduled to start? I think it was in April or May.
I don't know that I have a date, or we have a date.
Yeah, I don't think there was a hard and fast date. I thought they said they were gonna start abatement around the end of March.
March, yeah.
So that,
I mean, we're essentially there.
we're essentially,
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
we're
right,
yeah.
getting close to that.
So,
But they are under contract at this point, right? So we don't need to, we don't need to hold them up, I think.
yeah,
No, no.
You know,
but
No,
like you
but
said,
I
it's
think
the
is, what that
coordination.
is,
Yeah.
I think there's some value in having the construction manager on board as the demo proceeds.
exactly.
Yeah,
Especially-
almost definitely. If
I
we-
mean, the abatement is one thing, but when you get into the actual physical removal of the buildings and
Mhm.
materials.
Yeah.
Right,
Since the construction man is working for us, or basically the town's eyes and ears on the project.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It should be there.
Yeah.
The next 2 weeks, obviously Wednesday is out,
right.
but the week after, I think it's open. It's probably going to be more at this point on the two firms.
Yeah.
What they're available.
Yeah, exactly, what their availability is, so.
So what I can do is I can reach out to, when I get home, because doing it on this
Yeah,
is
it's
miserable.
impossible. I
Yeah,
hate texting.
So when I get
emailing.
home, I will send a note out
Yep.
to Justin to get some dates
Yeah.
that might be available. And I'll send them out to all of you guys and you guys as well. And then we can have Justin reach out to both companies offering those dates and see what we can come up with. Does that sound reasonable? And hopefully
Sure.
within the next week or two.
And I don't know what the town's availability is in terms of interviewing, but I could make time during the day. I don't know if that's a possibility.
Could be.
I could.
I'm available during
Yeah.
the day.
You
Yeah.
can't do
During-
both.
Yeah, during the day for me is
Yeah, busy
easier.
time.
Exactly.
It's a busy time. What's that, Lori? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, during the day, other than Thursdays, works for me,
Okay.
but
So I
Yeah.
just float that, I'm happy to do an evening meeting, but I can also show up during the day.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, even if it was all, Zoom, I'd let you come Zoom at my house, Steve.
I can be here.
If we
All right.
all just, if we all couldn't, get here
Yeah,
during
right.
the day,
Yeah.
but we could at least get on to a Zoom meeting during the day, then that might be an easier solution as well. So, as opposed to, having to come up here.
Yeah.
So, whatever works.
Well, I
in
do-
terms of-
I've got a job in Lewiston, so I come up almost weekly anyway.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so
So-
what I'll do is I'll send out the email to Justin, get some dates at the town that, he could, make it
Yep.
work.
Yep.
And reach out to see what works for everybody, including the responders.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
That sound good?
That works for me.
All right, okay. All right, so any more discussion on the proposals? Or are we all set?
I think we're good.
Think
I think we're good.
we'll move on? Okay,
Move on.
all right. Well, thank you, guys. Sorry for the problem
you.
with the lake.
Oh, that's all right. I was just worried we weren't going to make it in time.
No,
I signed on right as the item came up, so.
We appreciate the effort very, very much. Thank you so much.
And so Andrew, I take it you played the guitar.
Oh, I do, yeah, about 15, 16 years now.
All right,
Awesome.
good night, all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay,
Take care.
take care. All righty, so as to item number 5, fundraising, Chris, you have some, oh, I'm sorry.
Can we just go back to 4 just briefly?
Yes.
Doug was very useful in giving us this information.
Yes,
And so I think we need to decide what, that we don't want to do the addition to the academy building.
because it's outside the scope of.
It's outside the scope, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
That was very good of Doug to
No,
provide that.
that's good information. I was looking that over, and actually I had printed out copies and
Yeah.
left them because I only have one printer that will print out the color now.
Yeah.
Long story, and it's out back. My other printer's like right here, so, so they're still sitting there.
Okay.
Out back.
That's good.
In my office, so, so that would, in the interpretation of that would limit the scope to the building itself.
To which
with-
blueprint we can choose.
Right, for the building.
Yeah.
Alone.
But
Okay.
we could add a room or two behind that building. Isn't that right, Doug, or not? If like a bathroom, or if we needed to extend it back a little to add a bathroom or something.
We'd have to go by what,
Okay,
if what you think that people will accept, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess, the thing there is, well, why would you add a bathroom out back and have
Well, I
to
mean-
pour a foundation when
Yeah.
we have a foundation that we
Right.
can just go out onto,
Right.
if we're gonna be adding a
well, that's
bathroom,
right. I mean,
it's
I
already there,
just meant, but just basically one
As-
building. is-
Exactly, if we were gonna have to come up with a spot for bathrooms or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
If it's allowable, and I guess the strict interpretation of that would have to come from Justin, for Justin to say, yeah, you can do that, or no, we can't do that, or this is
Based
what
on
you
the-
voted
right.
on.
Right.
And, but I would hate to not get Justin's hard and firm,
Right.
input on that, or what, since that
Well,
was the
like
wording of
Steven
it.
said, it would be better to put a new kitchen in the
Oh.
back section rather than try to renovate,
Exactly,
so I think it was cheaper and better.
yeah,
I don't think the town would be upset about that.
No.
Right, and the thing is, of course, we're dealing with ever increasing costs.
oh, yeah,
By
it's
the
crazy,
minute.
by the
So how
second,
do we, right, you're right, it is by the second. So how do we make sure that we utilize what's there
yes,
to the optimum
Yeah.
for the money that the bucket is literally
That's right.
shrinking because
because
of,
of, 2x4x8s
Yeah.
being $10 a piece, and
Right.
metal going through the roof,
Oh,
and fuel going
Mhm.
through the roof, so
our fuel tripled in 1 month.
it's
And I
insanity,
can't pass that cost along.
No.
And it's
How can
just-
you?
No, you can't
Yeah.
because you have a fixed contract.
exactly,
And but my suppliers can pass it along.
oh, exactly.
Yeah, They give you a fuel surcharge
And
on
that's what's
everything.
Oh, I know.
happening now,
I know.
everything. So,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm concerned about is we
Yes.
don't want to have to demolish a foundation
Exactly,
to build. That's, I
Yeah.
think, wasteful under the current
Right,
situation.
Yeah, I agree.
and
I
I
mean,
would,
you already have a foundation there, and the
Exactly.
foundation's a significant expense.
Right. So
If
how
we
do
can
we use
utilize
that
that.
to our
Yeah, no,
advantage?
and I
Instead of
think,
constructing new.
whether I'm crazy or not, but I mean, even if it's sitting there and we don't do anything on top of it,
Bingo.
but we don't tear it, don't demolish
yeah,
the
you
Right.
would take-
basement, you leave it there
Take steps to
to
preserve.
preserve that, so that
And
we can at some point
Like,
go out onto
almost
it.
like stubbing in a bathroom that we
Yes.
don't want to put in right now,
Mhm.
but it's ready to go.
Yeah.
It would have to be preserved,
Yes.
you know. Bill, but if
Exactly.
You leave
Yeah.
concrete exposed
No,
like that, it won't be
It
there.
won't be there for
Yeah.
a while.
It's Frost be moving it all over the
Yeah.
place so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah,
So that might be the best use of our budget and
Yeah.
our time.
And we briefly discussed something along that line, I think at the last meeting,
Mhm.
because the budgets may not allow us to.
allow
do
us to do that.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
Especially.
And that's getting worse every day, like
Yeah.
John said.
Minute by minute,
Yeah.
yeah.
Our budget is still fixed and the costs are not.
That's right.
No,
And that's
no.
the hard part is we couldn't have picked a worse
Well,
time.
and that's the thing,
and
because
it
in years
makes
gone
me
by,
cry.
you know, you could, 10%,
Yeah,
you know, you could figure maybe, and no.
not now.
Not now.
No, not at all. So, no, I think that I read that and and it's true, but we don't want to be penny wise, pound foolish.
Exactly.
And, using an interpretation that would add costs.
Yeah,
Because that seemed like it
Yeah.
would be.
Right.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So are we settled on that? Do we want to, do we want to bring that to Paul's attention? Should I?
I think we have to bring
think
it
we
to
should.
Paul's attention, but also ask Justin for,
So we should,
just some
we'll ask Justin
clarification
first.
and, yeah, I think we just have to have some clarification from Justin, say this is, the wording of what went before the town
Mhm.
and what was voted on. So by keeping that foundation over there to, either put a bathroom or a kitchen on or
Yep.
preserve for future use,
Mhm.
because nobody can tell us we can't go back to the well again.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. Do
But-
what we can with what we have, because that's what we're
That's right.
expected to do.
Yeah,
And how to prep it for future
For
growth.
future.
or-
Yeah.
Right,
That makes
exactly.
sense.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so I'll include that in my
Yeah.
email, because I
Yeah.
do know that Paul wants to go over the design schematic on the next meeting.
yeah,
So if we are going to get that interpretation from Justin, we need to be able to send
Yeah.
that along to Paul and say, we need some ideas, what we can do
yeah,
within our budget to make sure it's preserved.
Yeah.
However much of it we want to preserve too. Do we want to preserve the whole thing?
Mhm.
Or a portion of it? What are our options?
Exactly.
So, okay, I'll include that too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So fundraising, I sent out several letters to former teachers that I had their addresses for. And I also sent one to Janie Roofing, to Tex Tech, Jack Traps, Waterman Farm Machinery, all places that,
Right.
Watermans that all went to Monmouth, at least the former one, the Watermans I all know, and the ones that run the business now, just reaching out to them saying, you boys went to school here. And, of course, the Jacksons were big in Monmouth for their kids going to school here, just asking for donations. I heard back within 2 hours from Tex Tech, because David Walker had given me the right person to talk to at Tex
Yeah,
Tech.
yeah.
And he said, let me look at our fundraising and or what we've got available, and we'll definitely.
We're just ending.
And I couldn't figure out where that noise was coming from, so he's gonna be sending money. Jeannie reached out to me too, and they're gonna be making a donation as well. So Justin will keep me
Tell them a
up
new
to
roof would be
date.
nice.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So Justin is gonna keep me
That's a good
in the
idea.
loop about who's making donations, so that we'll be able to send thank yous.
Yeah.
And depending on the size of the donation, put them on whatever we have for a plaque,
Black, yeah.
and also make invitations to when we open. So I'll have all of that information, and Bates has the throw on their website. To my knowledge, I don't know that they've sold any. All 30 that I had done for Christmas are gone. So if we want more, we do have more patches there,
Mhm.
ready to go.
Ready
So
to
if
go,
we
okay.
want to, you know, so I'm thinking that if we have the thing at the beach again,
Yeah.
am I
beach
trying to say,
party,
the
yeah.
beach party, then I'll do, you know, maybe 30 for the beach party and see if I can sell them all at the beach party and do
Mhm.
the same thing for Apple Fest
Yeah.
and, you know, see
That's a
how it
great
goes
idea.
and so see how many
Yep.
we have
Yeah.
and have them there, ask them to get them ready for us. I might have them, you know, do up so many.
It wouldn't surprise me if they would go then. for the beach
Exactly,
party.
you know, at the beach party and also at Apple
Apple
Fest
Fest,
and
yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
no, I
So,
think that's a great
you know,
idea.
whether
It's a
I do
nice
30
throw.
or 50 or whatever, you
Yeah.
know, and have them,
Count me in for 2.
okay.
I haven't had a chance to get yet.
Yeah, well,
I'll reach the
what I'll
boys.
do is I'll reach out to them and ask them to fabricate 100 for me.
Okay.
And that way I'll have them
Correct.
on hand. Yes, ma'am.
Chris, the Alumni Association has been given
that's right.
permission to use the new school. Once again, to have our Alumni Association Annual Day, which will be August the 6th.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. So we want a bunch there
So-
too.
Right, it's gonna be smaller because they're not gonna be able to tour the old building anymore. So the time frame will be like just 2 to 4. But
Okay.
I would like to have some there. And I will also put it out on our page saying these are
Yeah.
gonna be there for purchase.
Okay,
So
so,
count us in for some there.
so maybe I'll ask them for 100 and that will either, you know, beach party, because that'll be in July. And then it would give me some lead time depending on how many we sell. And then I'd have lead time before Apple Fest too. So,
Yeah, okay, so yeah, just make sure you've got that on your radar
okay,
because
Yep.
we just received permission this week.
yeah.
I have another question. With the kids that are still in school that went through the building
Mhm.
as middle schoolers?
Yeah,
Just don't know if, you know, some of the high schoolers, you know,
Yeah,
if they have a festival or something like that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what goes on at the school. I'm
Yeah.
not in any
Yeah,
of
I
it
don't
there.
either.
Lori
They're
doesn't know.
having,
Because there's still those kids that have gone through the
Yeah.
academy that might be interested. I don't know.
Exactly, and whether or not, you know, we did something during graduation time or something like that, since you're there teaching them how to march, Miss.
There you go.
well, they're having their, in May, they have that end of the month in May where they have like a spring fling day.
Oh, okay,
Where they get their yearbooks, they sign their yearbooks, they have a barbecue and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe we could put some there too.
yeah.
Just a thought. I mean, you know, you never know.
Who heads that up, Lori?
Well, Ted Finn is the new principal.
Principal, yeah,
And I have just been meeting with him in regards to graduation because it's going to, right now, go back to having the class day at noon as opposed to at night. They're actually going to
Yeah.
have the senior reception again,
Oh.
which is the Thursday night prior. And
Yeah.
then, of course, graduation on Sunday. So they're going to do
Yeah.
the whole thing. So I think spring fling is usually Chris Arsenault.
okay. All right,
And I don't know about the memorial school if they're doing any type of a step up, but those 8th graders would have spent time over there as
There,
middle
right.
school.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
okay. So, I don't have anybody's emails now that I don't have Ricky's anymore. Or I have Ricky's, but it doesn't go anywhere anymore.
yeah.
So I had an in with Ricky, but if you've got, you know, Finn's or Christine Arsenal, so I can shoot them
Yep,
an
I'll
email.
send them to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
And I have Rick's cell phone if you want to text him. If you
Oh,
want Rick's cell phone.
No, I'm just saying that I had an in when he was principal.
Oh,
I never had to worry about anything when he was principal. Because we had gone to school together. So,
Okay, yeah,
but now
I'll
I
send
don't-
those to you so that you can send it out.
I've lost my direct contact with, you know, so. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, so we'll plan on those and I'll reach out to Bianca and ask her to do another, I don't know, maybe I'll tell her to do 150, and she's been really good about billing us for, what we sell, but I mean, otherwise we have to pay up front. I mean, which we could always do, because I know that this money is in a separate kind of
Yep.
spot for us. We could pay for them, and then when the money comes in, replenish it, but anyway.
Gary Crocker does those little segments,
Oh, yes,
Maybe
yeah.
you could ask him to do one on
And
selling those blankets.
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone back in the fall about maybe doing something over the winter, but everything was so crazy. I mean, it would have been silly to try to do something.
But if he did a little segment on the
Yeah,
blankets,
exactly,
he
on
might
his-
reach a lot
yeah,
of people.
That I'll reach out to him again, because I talked to him on the phone once already, so.
Have we made any efforts to explore potential grants for historic preservation?
Well, Sarah was working on that, and I know you wanted to get, stuff in for April. So she's been doing the grant end of it, and I've been, the one knocking on doors with, or sending emails with my hand out.
Or have we
So-
reached out? Because I know there's a few, particularly summer residents in town that have substantial wherewithal. Like I know out in County Colony. I think what's her name, Serena Snyder, the Snyder's out there.
Oh, yeah.
They own the Pittsburgh Penguins and that.
Yeah,
and she's,
oh, yeah.
yeah, she's, I've done some work for her and I hooked her up on thing and she's like worth over 16 million.
Maybe they would want
So,
to,
but
Yeah.
what I'm alluding to is looking to it is maybe we need to reach out because the quilts and that's a good idea.
Well, exactly, but it's small amounts of money, and that's the thing. I mean, but I would never have thought of that woman. I don't have any
Right.
contact for her, so if there was a contact, I'm more than happy to send
well, they
her
have
a
a
letter.
foundation too, the Snyder
Yeah.
Foundation that has provided funds for activities here in town. In fact, I think you might want to check with Dennis Price.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
they've helped the theater at Monmouth
okay,
and Cumston Hall. So,
yeah, and I was gonna send,
and maybe something like the steeple, they would be interested in,
exactly,
you know,
because I was
providing
going
some money
to
for that.
fill out that information for Bangor Savings and Kennebec Savings
Yeah.
that have, community funds. So that is the next step, to fill out all the forms, which are lengthy for them to. So that's the next thing, asking the bank. So if the Schneider Foundation, if I get their information, I'm happy to.
Yeah, check with the
And
theater.
Another one
Um,
is Will, what's his name? Davis, he runs the trailer place.
Will Williams,
Yeah.
William Williams. Is that his name?
Will Williams,
Bill
yeah, well,
Williams,
yeah.
I mean,
Athens.
yeah, he runs that, but I mean, he's substantially into real estate in Florida and around here and stuff like that. And I mean,
His
so
sister, I think, runs a trailer
Yeah.
business, so you could contact his sister.
and, I mean, he's in Florida most of the winter, but he's up here in the summertime and stuff like that, and he has some strong ties.
In fact, his sister used to be the caretaker for the Snyder place, I believe.
Hmm.
So,
So, I'm just I'm thinking out loud.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can't be, it's all well and good to make $30 on something, but
Yeah,
if somebody gives me 300,000, I'm much
Yeah.
happier to take
Mhm.
that, so,
That would be nice.
Because
That would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so, but those are the names that I need, because I don't know. I mean, as my
Don't know
mother said
either.
to me the other day, I look around, I don't know anybody anymore, and I feel that way sometimes too. I mean, I used to, go into the post office and know every face I saw, and now I'm lucky if I know one.
I mean, I know
So-
Serena's not here too much frequently, but, she's up in the summer and her whole family's there off and on and the whole enclave up
well,
there.
and I know Tim McDonald said that we could maybe get some money for a warming station. There was federal money out
Right.
there. And I don't know if Sarah was able to look into that, or Doug had said we have some warming stations here, but
Yeah.
maybe
Well, I mean,
another warming.
I'm pretty
station.
reluctant to go the federal route again with,
Yeah.
after
The
this
strings.
colossal mess
Yeah,
right
the
here, so.
The strings are.
The strings attached to that, I mean, if there's no strings attached, that's.
Well, it's a
that's
warming
fine.
station. I don't know. It'd be something to look into.
Yeah, so, but I know Sarah was trying to get that paperwork done for the,
For the April.
for the cutoff for Stephen King's
Mhm.
foundation,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
that's the next step, so. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, as they come up with these names, I'll forward them to you.
Yeah, just send me, because I guess, I mean, the people that I knew that had money are all dead now, so.
and they didn't leave it to you?
And they didn't leave it to me, if Marjorie Sprague was still down there, I'd go knock on Marjorie's door and ask her and the governor to, to donate, because they were big Monmouth people, but Marjorie's gone, so. I don't know anybody anymore. So,
For 10 years.
yeah, I know you did. I had my senior pictures taken right in her front lawn on the lake, so. But, yeah, so if people think of
And
names
it's
and people,
particularly so with respect to summer residents.
Yeah,
They can
exactly.
establish a
Right.
rapport with them,
exactly,
because dealing with the local residents, it's basically,
It's
we're just
exactly.
seeing people.
The same people all the
recirculating
time,
all
exactly.
these different.
I know, and that's why,
And there's a bit of, giving fatigue when I go around to the
Exactly.
beach party.
Oh, yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
they do it and do
Yeah.
it
Oh, yeah.
nicely and generously,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's, after tourists getting into the summertime, they've already been hit for the
Yeah.
yeah,
springtime and it's hard.
exactly.
So,
So any of those names, I'm more than happy to,
Yeah.
get me that info and we'll be good, so.
Sherry, you left?
And I don't know if the owners, Chippewa and Cobussy would be inclined, now they're relatively new in the overall scheme of things. I know when Silverman's owned Chippewa, they had a long established tie there, but current owners, they're out of White Plains, New York.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'd be inclined, but they
Sherry, you
might.
left?
well, I mean, and I can look up to see who to contact down there and send letters to them, so, and see what they're willing to
Mhm.
do, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the more ideas you give me, the more letters I can send out, and all they can do is ignore me, so.
Oh, yeah, I ignore it.
I think you're hard to ignore.
I'll send my mother down to Cobussy, since they deliver everything for one Cobussy to my mother's house for some reason, so we get, you wouldn't believe the stuff we get during the summer that parents are sending to the kids, and they put one Cobussy on there. And they come to my mother's house and we'll find packages on the doorstep.
Yeah, see,
Really?
because
Yeah.
that's technically the Cobussy Circle.
Cobussy Circle, and
Out
they,
there at the camp,
but they
but
don't
then you
ever
have
put
Cobussy
Camp
Re-
Cobussy,
Right.
Cobussy Circle, they
Because
see.
your mom is just where Maple Street transitions.
But we're still Maple Street, so it's really funny, we opened up, and the box was destroyed, there was a box that was like destroyed and stuff was falling out of it, and it was Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They sent
absolutely. Buckets of them.
package of Sour Patch Kids to, the shipping probably costs more than the sour, but it's just so funny. My mother will drive down there, 'cause she's nothing better to do. And, tell your parents to make sure, it's a riot, but anyway, all right. So that's all that I have, but any names, any information, I'm really happy to, if we have addresses, contact, I've been mailing things, I emailed stuff, if I have
Now,
emails,
there's
so
another
whatever.
one I know there's several ties with Kennebec Savings,
Yeah,
but what's his name there? He lives down at the end of Colby Lane, because I did work for him.
Billy Hill,
Yeah.
Billy
yeah.
just retired,
Oh,
so,
did he? Yeah.
yes, Bill Hill
Are
retired.
you kidding?
Yep. But I've known him since high school,
Mhm.
and I saw him at the dump and said, hey, Bill, I'm gonna send this in. And he's like, do it. They've got tons of money.
Yeah.
Send it
Yeah,
in.
that's so weird because I worked
So-
with his mom.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just is weird to think that he's retired.
Yeah. Well, he retired,
What the heck?
but he used to have an afro too. He
Yeah.
worked at J&S Pumping Gas and he had an afro.
His mom was a hoot.
He played basketball for Maranicutt,
Yeah.
so. Yep, but
All right.
that's it. So anybody has addresses, just feel free to send me addresses, emails. I will happily send letters and put my hand out. So,
Awesome.
okay.
All right, thank you. So item number 5 is set time and agenda. Agenda items for next meeting. The next meeting will be the interview.
The interviews, but we should probably set one up for April.
Yeah,
anyways.
do we
We've
wanna-
got one for that.
Yeah,
too,
all
So,
that, and we'll fit the one in between. Let's see.
so April meetings in town. There's just right now, there's not a lot scheduled. There's 6, 14, and 20 have meetings on them. So whatever.
Comprehensive plan is going to meet in the 4th week of April because
Okay,
that was discussed last night, because the 3rd week is the school vacation week.
Oh, yeah,
Several
right,
people will
yeah.
be away.
Okay.
yeah,
So they've moved their meeting to there.
And I think I'm gonna be gone the week of the 17th, but I could zoom in.
which is that week, that's school
Yeah,
vacation. So
Right,
maybe we
that's not a
should,
good week, right?
so maybe we should shoot for,
The week of the 10th to the 16th? Or the week
Yeah.
after the vacation?
when is,
You've
what
got-
night does the comprehensive plan usually?
Wednesday night.
Wednesdays, okay, so
Wednesdays.
maybe we could do if we wanted to do the 26th, we could do
Yeah.
the 26th, because
26th.
that would make it a little later.
Yeah.
Does that seem better than doing
And
it?
demo would be
maybe a
pretty
little-
well underway by then,
Yeah.
I would think.
The 20, because I think Tuesdays were good with people, right? Or
Yep.
Tuesdays, okay?
Except for the 3rd Tuesday.
Okay,
That will be 13th.
which that's the 19th. So if we did the 26th, how does the 26th look for you, Lori?
My road should be dry.
I'll come get
Pray
you. 'cause
for
My road
wind.
be dry too, so if yours isn't.
Okay,
3/4 of a mile down,
Mhm.
and it's down in that little gully. I might as well have a boat.
No.
all right,
All
so
right,
that's
we're gonna
good.
shoot for the 26th.
The 26th?
6 o'clock here.
And then we're assuming there'll be another meeting somewhere in between.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
Exactly.
try to get something as
Okay.
quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
send it out tonight. and
it would
see-
be good to get that, if we can get that
Yeah.
done before the
Agreed.
abatement
Agreed.
gets started.
Yep.
Agreed, absolutely.
Yep.
So we're all good with 4/26 at 6 o'clock here.
Do we have any public comment, Mr. Ludwig?
All set?
Good.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. If
Second?
that was the motion you were making.
That's the motion he was making. So Lori, you good
We're
with?
good.
I move we adjourn. Thank you for letting me
Thank
zoom
you.
in tonight.
No problem.
Thank
Lori.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, we're all good. Bye-bye. I will make us
No, we just-
roll on that.
We all say yes.
Let a line, but